Hello. Thank you for joining today's Perfect Project Management webinar. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to go through a few introductions. So, I'm Sam Connor, Sales Manager here at Interface, and we're BITRIX24 Gold Partners based in the UK. We're in the US and also Hong Kong, and we offer a full range of services to assist you and help you with BITRIX24. So, first of all, we offer pre sale support so we can analyze your requirements and really help you to determine if BITRIX24 could be a good fit for what you're trying to achieve. And if it is, we can then help to build out the system. So we can set up the BITRIX24 platform, really have it designed and built out exactly how you need it to work. Now, if you're looking at the on-premise version of Bitrix, or essentially a private cloud version, then we can provide our hosting service for you. And then we also provide bespoke training and ongoing support to help you and your teams get the most possible value out of the Bitrix24 system. Okay, so if you're joining today's Perfect Project Management webinar, actually to get maybe a bit more information and clarity about what Bitrix24 is, let's just summarize, first of all, what this platform actually is. Okay, so Bitrix24 is a collaboration suite of well in excess now of 35, really more like 40 different tools that you can use to help you to manage your business. And there are over 15 million businesses now around the world that use the Bitrix24 system. And it's available in two different versions. So we have the Bitrix cloud system and we have the Bitrix24 self hosted solution. And when we say self-hosted, essentially it's a private cloud version of Bitrix. So it doesn't mean you have to host this on a physical server. It can be on a private cloud setup. Okay. And then in terms of pricing, so prices start from $49 per month on a basic cloud license and from 3,590 US dollars for the on-premise stuff. That starts on the business 50 tier. And that's the first year cost. In year two, and then ongoing annually, you'll pay a 50% renewal fee to continue to access the system. Okay, then. So today's webinar is perfect project management. So as you may be able to work out, we're going to be focusing on the project management and task management features within Bitrix24. So some people think Bitrix is just an intranet system or if it's just a CRM platform and businesses use other project and task management tools. But you'd be wrong in that assumption because Bitrix24 has an incredibly powerful project management system that allows you to manage all of your project work groups in one centralized system. So every single project you can manage through the Bitrix24 platform. You're able to manage all of the tasks associated to those projects in really nice ways. So you'll see today when you're managing tasks in Bitrix, there's lots of different ways you can manage those tasks within different views. So from a deadline view, maybe a Gantt chart, or maybe actually completely different methodology, which is Scrum. Okay, so there's different ways you can manage tasks. We have automations. So you can automate, for example, the creation of the project in Bitrix. You can manage automated actions at different stages when the task progresses through the Kanban view. Then we also have workload management. So we have BI reporting to be able to analyze the capacity and resources across our users so we can start to understand who has availability to be scheduled onto future work. And then we'll take a look as well at some of the other reporting features. And then we also have the external users tool. Okay, so there is a feature called the collab feature. And this allows you to manage tasks and collaborations with external users inside your Bitrix system. And we'll take a look at what that collab feature looks like. So there's no limit on the number of external users that you can add to your Bitrix24 system. Okay, so let's take a look in the BITRIX platform. Now we're live today on YouTube. So if you do have any questions, just put them into the chat box and we can start to go through those during today's session. Okay. And I'll just explain what we're looking at here. So I'm going to be switching between both the on-premise and the cloud version of BITRIX. If there's certain functionality where you need to be on a certain tier of plan, I'll let you know. And on here as well, we'll go through and look at the permissions as well. So I'm an administrator, so I'm going to have access to all of the functionality for making changes, setups, but we can control who has access to different pieces of functionality within the BITRIX24 system. Okay. Okay, so let's first of all just take a look at how we can see our projects inside BITRIX. So if we click into tasks and projects, you'll see my menu on the left-hand side. It's been cleaned. Okay, so you can do this on the cloud and the on-premise system. So we can customize what modules display here on the system. With the on-premise, you can configure those permissions down to individual user roles, so you have greater granularity. Whereas on the cloud, it would be set for everyone across the business. Okay. So within tasks and projects, I'm going to click into the project area. And then within here, I can see all of the projects that I am working on, that I am associated to. Okay. And this view here, you can filter through that information so you can drill down into specific projects through here. And so I can click into those projects and view all of the information about those projects. But we'll take a look inside a live project. We're going to look at that in more detail shortly. But first of all, let's take a look at how we can create a new project. So first of all, what we want to do is we click on create. And you'll see now we have a few different options. So I'll just explain what these different options mean and what they refer to. So first of all, I'm just going to talk you through the project. So that is the standard project portal for BITRIX, where you can manage all of the tasks associated to the project. On a project record here, that will have a start date and an end date. So you can put time parameters on the project. And you can't then, with that time parameter, no task within that project can surpass the end date of the project. Okay. Whereas we also have work groups, and a work group, that is an area where, again, you can manage all the tasks, all of the functionality, very similar to a project. The key difference is you don't need to have those time parameters that we've just discussed. So if you maybe have a work group for every department within the business, you're not going to have a predefined start and end date for a department. So that's where you could set up a work group. And then we also have the collab feature. So this is the feature where you can then invite your external users, whether that's clients, could be vendors, suppliers, anyone who's not within your BITRIX system as an internal user. You can set up a collab space to be able to collaborate with them, manage and share tasks, upload and store documents. So you have the capability to have a collaboration area as well. So let's take a look at creating a project first of all. Okay, so first of all, when we click on here, we can create the project title. Okay, so let's say this is a CRM implementation project. And then we can add a description. So this gives people a bit more information about what the project is for. And then we can add a theme. So this is the background essentially for the project. So you can choose different themes here for that and choose an icon. And then we can extend the parameters here. So this is where we can add the project start and end dates. So we have those time parameters set up. We can choose the subject of the project. So this can be used for reporting purposes. And then we can choose what features we want to enable on the project. So you can see here, I can turn on and turn off different features. So what's really nice with this is you can really control how much functionality you want to have within every single project that you run inside BITRIX. So it may be, of course, we want to be able to manage tasks in here. So let's turn on the task feature. Then let's say if I need to store documents, we'll turn on the drive, and I want to be able to collaborate instantly with my colleagues. So let's turn on the instant chat tool. So it just enables you to control what functionality you need to have here. And you can always come back into here and reconfigure that functionality in the future. Okay, so that's now been created. And then we can choose the access level of this project within BITRIX. So who else within the BITRIX system is going to be able to view this area? So for example, if it's public, anyone in your BITRIX system can access that project and view the information. We can keep it private. So that means you can only enter that project if you have been authorized by the invitation that you request. If it's hidden, you're not going to be able to even request access to the project. Only the project owners can actually send an invite out for that project type. And then we can add our team members. Okay, so we have the project owner. Usually that's the person who's creating the project, but it could be somebody else who you assign that role to. And then we have two other layers within here. So we have the project moderators, essentially like a middle layer of management on the project. And then we also have our team members. So let's add all of those into here as well. Okay, so we've added our team members, and then we can generate the project. So that's going to bring all of the people together. It's created the different areas inside the project where we can now manage all of our information from tasks. We've got the drive area to store our documents, and we have the chat system as well, so we can instantly communicate with the rest of the project team. So it's really flexible for managing all of your information. And as I mentioned, if you wanted to be able to then configure this project in the future, as I'm the owner of this project, I can click on Edit Project, and this then opens up again that page that we've just looked at. So if I wanted to maybe add some additional functionality, actually, I want to have a calendar area where I can manage all of the meetings and events associated to this project. I can then store and then add the calendar into this project. So really valuable tool to be able to re-edit that project in the system. Okay, so that is a quick overview there of how we can create a new project inside the BITRIX24 system. But let's take a look at a project that is currently live so we can see a lot more information and data. Okay, so we're in a project here. There's quite a lot of tasks that are currently being worked on in this project. And before we go into that, I just want to show you the role and permission area. So in every single project that you manage, they are the abilities to configure the permissions for that project. So from each entity, from the calendar, the tasks, the drive area, you can configure your permissions. So for example, about the ability to create new tasks, we might just say here, for example, only the project owner and the moderators can create those tasks. Or we might say any project participant. So that then includes the other colleagues within the project. So it allows you to really customize the permissions. And as I say, this isn't a global permission control panel. It's built into each individual project. So it allows you to be very flexible as to how that permission control is set up within each project. And so let's take a look, first of all, at tasks, really the fundamental aspect to any project. And within the BITRIX system, we have a really fantastic task management platform. So within here, first of all, if I want to create a new task, I can click on the create page. This then opens up the task page here where we can input the task. Okay, so we can add the task and then we can add more information. Okay, and then we can add the deadline for this. We can assign this to the responsible person. And we can also add additional participants into these tasks as well. And we can also, really nice with this, you can add checklist items. So you can add different items that need to be ticked off as that task is being completed. So that's how we can add a task. Now, if it's a repetitive task, so for example, we work with a lot of accountancy firms where every single month there are very standard and repetitive tasks that have to be completed. You can then turn on the activation system here. So you can turn on the repeat task mode and have this task automatically recreated in the system based on the time parameter that you set up. And you can also create templates as well. So let's just save this task into the project. So what you can also do is if we click on create, you can use a task template as well. So if you have a standardized task framework, you could then select that from your templates and use that as a way to reduce the amount of time that it takes to set up the task inside the platform. Okay, so that's creating tasks. And within the views here, it's really valuable that within the project, there are lots of different ways you can view tasks. So right now we're in the deadline view. Probably my favorite view. I think this is a really nice way to be able to dissect the timelines of every single task within the project. So I can see what's currently due this week, what's due today, what's currently overdue. So this view is really useful to prioritize your tasks. Okay, so I can see what's overdue, and within every single task, you can click into that page, see all the information, including images. We can also then store all of our comments within the task. So rather than having endless external channels of communication for your tasks, it can all be managed in a centralized area here, which is incredibly valuable, saves time, and also just improves efficiency, helping the team to get the task completed in a timely manner. And you've also, in terms of time, you've got this time tracker tool. So you can record time on the task as well. So using the time tracker, or you can manually add that time into here as well. Okay, so that's the deadline view. The different ways though we can view tasks. So here we've got the list view. So this is really a table of that task information, and you can filter this information around. You can drill down into the information as well. So it's really flexible for how it displays. There's also a Kanban view. So this is personalized to each project. So on here, then what we can do is we can create the stages that we progress the tasks through. And those stages, as I say, they're customizable for every single project that we set up. So we can then progress through those different stages like so. We've seen the deadline view, so I'll just move on here to the planner view. So this is a really nice way to be able to manage your own tasks. So if I create some additional stages in here, then that will not impact any other user in this project. So it's your own personal Kanban view for you, the tasks that you are working on. There's also the calendar. So we can see the calendar view here of those tasks. And then we also have a Gantt chart view. So this gives you that high level overview of all of that task information associated to the project. So as you can see, it's a really nice way. Different people will work in different ways. So having all of those different views of your tasks in the system, it's incredibly valuable for all of the team working on the project. Okay, then we also have a lot of other features within this project. So we've got a feed area, so people can post out messages into this feed, and you're able to see all, essentially it's like an intranet board where you can see all of the up-to-date information about the project. There's a chat system, so you can do instant chats with the rest of the team. But it's not just chatting, you can do video calling and you can do voice calls through the system as well. And then we've got the drive area. So this is really a very popular feature within projects. So it enables you to add and store documents directly inside the project itself. And when those documents are stored in here, you can also put access controls on each document to control who's able to view and to read those documents through the system. Next, we have the calendar. So this is where we can manage all of our events, meetings associated to the project. So we can view all of that information inside the platform here. And then we also have a list view. So the list is essentially, it's where you can create tables of information connected to the project. So for example, in this list here, we've got expense information that is associated to this project. So it's fields of information that is associated. So what we can do on these as well is we can send these for approval so you can run business processes on these lists of information. So it enables you to then send that data for approval directly through the project itself. So that's an overview of a project. Now, all of this data we need to be able to analyze across all of our projects. So if you go back into tasks and projects, the individual users, you're able to see all of your tasks across all of your projects using the task view here. Now, there is also a slightly different way to be able to manage projects in BITRIX, and that is using the Scrum methodology. So with this, you're able to create your own scrums for essentially a different way of working on projects. So if I open up a scrum here for this implementation, you can see the sprints that have been set up with the tasks, and you can build out your sprints. You can see the backlog here, and within here, then we can add our definition of dones to each task, and also add epics for tagging those sprints. And then we can start to complete those sprints directly through the BITRIX24 system. So it's a slightly different way for you to be able to manage projects inside BITRIX. If the standard functionality doesn't provide how you wish to work on a project, then we have the Scrum methodology incorporated into the system as well. Okay, so let's just take a look to see if we have any questions. Okay, so a question that's coming, is there a limit to the number of work groups that you can create? So it's a really good question. There is no limit on the number of work groups. The limitation will come is if you, depending on the amount of data, okay, that you are storing. So if you are creating lots of project groups, it will start to add obviously more data to the system, and that's going to eat away at the storage limits that you have on the platform. So that's something to bear in mind. On obviously on the on-premise version, you could scale the server and add more storage capacity. If you're on a cloud version, so if you're on a pro cloud, you get a terabyte of storage. Different tiers have different amounts. But if you say we're on the pro cloud, you hit that terabyte of storage, we could then upgrade you to the enterprise tier where it starts at 3 terabytes of storage space. So we can always scale on the system, and the enterprise cloud goes up to 100 terabytes of storage capacity. Okay, so yeah, it's a really good question. If there are any other questions, please do add them into the YouTube channel. So now looking a bit more at automations inside tasks and projects. So for this area, you need to have at least a professional cloud version of BITRIX. So what we're able to do within our projects is we can create automations. Okay, so if we drill down into our tasks, what you'll see here, there's an automation area. So on the professional cloud tier and all the plans that are above that as well, what we can do is we can set up automated processes. Okay, so for example here, these are the stages that we have on the Kanban view inside the project we've just been in. And within those stages, what we can do is we can set up automated actions that take place on those stages. Okay, so for example here, when we move the task into the in progress stage, we're sending up some notifications to go out to the wider project team. And then we're also following up and sending an email after a specific time. But you can see here as well, we can also set up triggers. And a trigger is going to automatically update the stage that this task is at. Okay, so here, as soon as the task becomes overdue, it's being moved now to the review stage because it's becoming a critical incident. And when we hit that overdue stage, we've got some automation set up. So we're automatically notifying specific people, and we're also changing who is responsible for that task. So it's going to automatically go to a more senior manager to get this task back on track. So you can start to see how automations can help to ensure when maybe the project is starting to fall behind, using automations can help to ensure the project gets back on track in a timely manner and fashion. Okay, so that's one look at automation. Now, another way we can run automations is to actually create the project itself. So with the professional cloud and any tier above, you have the workflow designer tool. So as we saw earlier on, we created a project in the system with quite a lot of steps to it. So what we can do actually is we could use a workflow, fill in quite a concise form, and that's going to automatically create the project inside the system. So let's take a look at this in some more detail. Okay, so again, the title, we then need to add a manager to the project, and we have a designer role as well for designing the tasks. And we have time parameters, so we'll put a deadline for the project. And then you can see here we've got some optional fields as well, so you can control what fields are mandatory, what fields are optional. And then after this, we can choose the type of project. So this is really important because in this workflow, we have a condition. So depending on the type of project, that's going to bring specific people into the project, and there's going to be specific tasks that need to be completed as well. So it allows all of the functionality here to automate lots of the manual activity that you may be doing right now. So let's now start this workflow. I've chosen the type of project, and I was assigned as the project manager. So I now need to fill in the estimated completion date, and then I'll add a comment. Okay, so let's now add that and approve the project. Okay, and so let's now go into the project itself. So we can now go into the project area. Okay, and then we can see the perfect project webinar, February 2025. That's been created. It's brought specific people into the project. And you can see we have specific tasks now that have been set up within the system because of the condition that we set up. So if you are interested in automating the creation of your projects, being able to manage that in a uniformed way, then we can have a conversation with you. We just need to ensure you're on at least a professional cloud version of BITRIX24. And if you are on a professional cloud version, you're also going to have access to another feature within the CRM system that you can use to manage projects. And that's called Smart Process Automation. So this feature allows you to create new entities inside the CRM area. So once the deal has been won in BITRIX, we could then automatically create a project record built into the CRM system. Okay, so here we can see we have stages that we're progressing the projects through, and I can click into the project and see all of the information about that project. So all of the key information, data associated to this, and we can then link to the work group where the lower level tasks are being worked on for that project. So a lot of people we have ask about connecting the CRM and projects together. This smart process automation tool, it allows that connection to take place. And what's really nice, if we then click into the contact or the companies within the CRM, I can then see all of the projects that this person is connected to. So it connects across all of the entities of the CRM. So it's a really popular way now to be able to manage projects in BITRIX. Okay, so at the start, we mentioned about external users and how they could access the BITRIX24 system. So I just want to take a look at that in some more detail with you. So it's a fairly new feature called the collab tool. Okay, so what we can do with this feature is if I go into we'll move over to a cloud version of BITRIX, because what we can do inside here is you have an area called collabs. So what we'll do is if I show you here, this is briefly just showing you one of the reporting dashboards within the BITRIX system. So all of the data, I'll just first of all show you this before we go into the collab. All of the data from tasks and projects, this now feeds into the BI Builder tool within BITRIX. So it allows you to build out dashboard reports to analyze the information. So here we can see from across our teams the amount of tasks that are classified as urgent and how much time it's taking for them to complete their tasks in the system. We can see the average deadline threshold, what their capacity is for being able to work on future tasks. So this dashboard tool is really high level overview of all of that task and project information. And then we have the collab feature. So this is a new feature that enables you to manage your external users within the BITRIX system. So if I just take a look to show you this, you can see here on the left hand side, we have some collabs already set up. And so if I wanted to create a new collab, I can just click on here, give that a title, and then I can start to invite people. So I can invite our internal employees into this collaboration space. And I can also then invite external users, so guests, either using a link or inviting them using a phone number or email. And then we're able to collaborate with them through the system. So you can do instant chats. You can then also manage tasks within the collaboration area. And you've got all the same views as we've just seen inside the project. You can also manage documents, and there is a calendar area as well. So you've got the ability to manage meetings and events through the system here. And so if we just take a look at what this looks like as the external user, you can see it's very different. All they have access to is the collabs that they are associated to. And then they could, depending on the permission control, you could then give them access to all of those areas that we have just referenced in the system. And then all of that information is synced. So it's a really nice area to be able to collaborate with your clients or third parties through the system. And again, what's fantastic with this feature is there's no limit on the number of external users that you can add into the collab system. Now, one thing to mention as well, if you are interested in an on-premise version, you're able to rebrand the login page. Okay, so if you wanted to remove the BITRIX branding with an on-premise version, you can strip out the BITRIX branding and also add your own domain for the system. So it's a more professional looking service for when your clients are coming into the system. Okay, and that just brings me on a bit more to talk about the self-hosted benefits. I've just mentioned the reference there. You've got the branded portal. You're also able to create more advanced automations, and you have access to the control panel, so you can also create your own page customization. So you've got a greater level of customization capability. Okay, so that brings us to an end of today's Perfect Project Management webinar. I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, you can contact us, sales@interface.com, and one of our team will be happy to discuss your requirements in more detail. So I'm just going to put our email address into the YouTube channel. You can see here a selection of our up and coming webinars. You can register at interface.com/webinars. So we're here every other Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So we'll see you again in the near future. And you'll also be able to access the recording of this on our YouTube channel very shortly. So thank you very much for your time today. I look forward to seeing you in the near future. Bye for now.